emails, the file cabinets, the documents? What about the financial records? Have you released all of that?
Everything the court has allowed us to
release.
Which
court are you talking about?
3 separate federal courts have come in and said...
We're talking about the evidence you've got. It's got nothing to do with what those courts have.
Do you have any idea how the law works? Do you want me to break the law in a federal judge's order?
No, I want you to follow your own word, Director Patel. You said up there it was under the direct control of the FBI director. He had the black book.
Everything I have direct control over, we have gone to court. You haven't.
Complete your sentence. Everything you have direct control over, you said.
Have gone to court and everything.
He once accused the FBI of protecting the most notorious predator in modern history. Now he runs the agency himself. So why hasn't anything changed? Today, Jamie Raskin puts Kash Patel's own words back in front of him, and the answers raise far more questions than they resolve.
Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman. Director Patel, before you joined the FBI, you railed against it for covering up Jeffrey Epstein's human trafficking ring. Let me refresh your memory with this clip.
It has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
So you finished that December 2023 interview with a challenge to the FBI and harsh words for Republicans in Congress for not getting the Epstein files out to the public. You can see this clip.
Boy pants, and let us know who the pedophiles are.
Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are, you said. You emphasized that the president and the FBI director each had complete authority to release Epstein's client list. You said Epstein's black book is under the, quote, direct control of the director of the FBI. Look at this clip.
This is way off the topic, but who has Jeffrey Epstein's
black book?
Black book.
FBI.
But who? That is, I mean, there's...
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
All right, so you were sworn in as director more than 200 days ago. Now the black book is under your direct control. So why haven't you released the names of Epstein's co-conspirators in the rape and sex trafficking of young women and girls?
The Rolodex, which is what everybody colloquially refers to as the black book, has been released.
Oh, no, you're talking about what the journalist got 5 years ago? No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what you were talking about there, the black book under the direct control of the FBI director.
We have released more material than anyone else before. The Biden administration, Obama administration had the exact opportunities to release this material, and they never did. And if you are telling the men and women of the FBI, we're not going after child predators. Hang on, you said we're not going after child predators. 1,500 child predators arrested this year, 35% increase.
I'll reclaim my time.
4,700 child victims
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to
found.
reclaim my time if you could instruct the witness. Why have you changed your position? There you were saying it's under the direct control of the FBI director and all of it should be released. Why have you changed your position?
Everything that has been lawfully permitted to be released has been released. And as I told you, the investigation was limited. And let me make something crystal clear. I never said Jeffrey Epstein didn't traffic other people, other women, and they're not other victims. This is the investigation we were given from 2006, 7, and 8, and the search warrants from 2006, 7, and 8. That's what we're working with.
Well, wait, have you released all of the emails, the file cabinets, the documents? What about the financial records? Have you released all of that?
Everything the court has allowed us to
release.
Which
court are you talking about?
3 separate federal courts have come in and said...
We're talking about the evidence you've got. It's got nothing to do with what those courts have.
Do you have any idea how the law works? Do you want me to break the law in a federal judge's order?
No, I want you to follow your own word, Director Patel. You said up there it was under the direct control of the FBI director. He had the black book.
Everything I have direct control over, we have gone to court. You haven't.
Complete your sentence. Everything you have direct control over, you said.
Have gone to court, and everything we have direct control over.
Complete your sentence. You said everything.
We're releasing.
He'd like to complete his answer.
You began the sentence, everything you have direct control over, and then you stopped that sentence. You've released everything that you have direct control over?
And I have direct control over and can lawfully release. If you're not familiar with the court orders, that's not my fault.
Oh, I'm perfectly familiar with them. But how did we prosecute Ghislaine Maxwell?
She was prosecuted with the investigatory material that was collected from 2001 and 2005 because of the non-prosecution agreements and the court orders on the investigations and search warrants. We were not able to develop new information. And oh, by the way, Jeffrey Epstein was out for 12 years and the Obama and Biden administration did nothing to look at his work, his pedophile network. If you want to blame me, that's fine. But now you're blaming the men and women who conducted this great search.
Stop that. I'm not blaming anybody other than you. You're not keeping your word. You said that you would release all of the materials under your direct control.
Has anyone released more information on Epstein than I have? Has anyone?
Much more.
Did Comey? Did Ray?
Much more.
Did they?
Excuse me. Much more has come out in the days since the American people in Congress have been demanding it. But it's coming out in dribs and drabs. Why don't you just release the entire file as you promised to do?
I literally just told you there are multiple federal court orders. I'm not going to break the law to satisfy your curiosity. You didn't join us when we filed court to release the court orders. You could have. You have lawyers. You could have shown up. You didn't do that.
That's a tiny fraction of the material we're talking about.
That is not.
It is a tiny fraction.
How do you know that? Have you seen everything?
It's all misdirection.
How do you know
Time
that?
of the gentleman has expired.
Now, let's cut through the noise and look at what the actual record reveals. What we witnessed in this exchange was not just a heated back and forth. It was a rare moment where past rhetoric collided head-on with present authority. Jamie Raskin's line of questioning was precise and strategic. He didn't accuse first, he played the tape. He reminded Kash Patel on the record of statements Patel made before becoming FBI Director, where Patel openly accused the FBI of actively protecting Jeffrey Epstein and his associates. Those weren't vague criticisms. Patel used some of the strongest language imaginable. He claimed the FBI was sitting on Epstein's list. He implied moral corruption. He directly challenged Republicans in Congress to put on your big boy pants and release the names. And crucially, he stated repeatedly that Epstein's so-called black book was under the direct control of the FBI director. That framing matters because Raskin's central question wasn't rhetorical. It was simple and devastating in its clarity. If the problem was authority, and you now have that authority, why hasn't the list been released? Patel's response marked a sharp pivot from his earlier certainty. Instead of reiterating that the FBI had a hidden list, Patel reframed the issue as a misunderstanding. He argued that what the public refers to as the Black Book, the Rolodex of contacts, had already been released years ago through journalistic efforts. In other words, he shifted from the FBI is hiding the list to there is no secret list left to release. That's not a small change. That's a complete reversal of emphasis. Raskin immediately called this out. He wasn't asking about what journalists obtained 5 years ago. He was asking about the same materials Patel himself claimed were under FBI control. By Patel's own earlier logic, if the director had the power to release it, then the director should do so. Patel's defense rested on 3 pillars. First, he argued that everything lawfully permitted to be released already has been released. This introduces a legal shield, classification, victim protection, sealed warrants, all valid considerations, but ones he did not emphasize in his earlier public statements. Second, he narrowed the scope of the Epstein investigation. Patel repeatedly referenced the 2006 to 2008 case files and search warrants, suggesting the FBI is constrained by the limits of that original investigation. That's a critical admission because it contradicts the earlier implication of a sweeping, hidden trove of names. Third, he shifted attention to FBI performance statistics. Arrests of child predators, increases in victim rescues. Those numbers may be significant, but they do not directly answer the core question Raskin posed. Why the promised transparency never materialized once Patel had the power to deliver it. Raskin's reclaiming of time was telling. He wasn't disputing Patel's claim that Epstein trafficked victims, nor was he denying the existence of other victims. Instead, he focused on consistency. He asked why Patel's confidence in full disclosure disappeared the moment responsibility landed on his desk. This exchange highlights a broader pattern often seen in Washington. Outrage is easy when power belongs to someone else. Accountability is harder when the decisions are yours. Patel's earlier rhetoric created an expectation, one of decisive action, full transparency, and moral clarity. As FBI director, his language became cautious, legalistic, and constrained. That doesn't automatically mean bad faith, but it does expose the gap between political commentary and institutional reality. And that gap is exactly what Raskin illuminated. The unresolved tension at the end of the exchange. Have you released all of this? Is the point where the story truly sits. Not in what was said years ago and not in what was promised, but in what remains undisclosed today. For the public, the question isn't partisan. It's institutional. If no hidden list exists, why was the FBI accused of hiding one? And if limits now prevent disclosure, why were those limits dismissed before? Until that contradiction is resolved, this debate won't fade, because it isn't just about Epstein. It's about credibility, power, and whether transparency survives the moment it's tested.